Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda Ray, and this is my cousin Kollene. We both grew up in the same cult, and if you're interested in hearing stories about that, I'll leave the links in my description box down below so you guys can see those videos. But today we're going to be talking about the Fox 13 news report that I was on recently. So I was asked to be interviewed for this news clip, and I talked with the news reporter for like 2 hours, and obviously that all can't be put in a like 5-minute segment on Fox 13 News. So I just wanted to bring up some more of my personal thoughts and opinions, and Kollene has some of her own as well.
Yeah, so I was actually a lunch lady when I was 15 in the order schools, so I know a little bit about how there was abuse and there was neglect, there was wage theft, and I know how the whole, like I fed those babies.
Yeah, so I worked there too, and I don't know if you got paid, but I found out like 3 months in that I wasn't getting paid at all. And this school is a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, they claim they're a nonprofit, but I actually never knew they were a nonprofit.
Yeah, we're just actually learning a lot of this now. And so if they're a nonprofit, it's super weird that my mom, I don't know about your mom, but my mom pays for all of the kids that have gone to Ensign. I don't know.
My mom did. So one of the things my mom said was why we were able to go to public school is because it was just too expensive in the order.
Wow.
And then also the abuse. So that's why she moved us to public school.
Right. So there's puppies in there. You're going to be seeing puppies. Okay. Should we start the next game? So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll watch it. Let's pull up the clip.
Over the past few years, members of the Kingston family who ran a different company called Washakie Renewable Energy have pleaded guilty to dozens of charges, including fraud, money laundering, and obstruction. Now the private elementary school where members of the group send their children is facing multiple accusations related to its taxes. This is Ensign Learning Center near Decker Lake in West Valley City, a K-6 private school that prefers to keep its teachings especially private.
All I knew was that we had to keep polygamy a secret, and all the teachers there are order members. When you grow up in it, it seems so normal because you don't know anything else.
The order is another name for the Kingston family. Amanda Ray from the television show Escaping Polygamy says she left the family after graduating from Ensign Learning Center, so she would not have to marry her cousin.
If an outsider asks an order member like about their religion, you're never supposed to talk about the order.
I'm looking for somebody with Ensign Learning Center. According to property records, 11 homes in Salt Lake County are also registered to the nonprofit school, which raises the question, are the owners of Ensign Learning Center in the education business or the real estate business?
So usually, if a nonprofit has a house and they're helping people, then they're helping people. It's free, usually.
But
So
why are they paying rent?
Why are they paying rent? This
That's
is not a
true.
nonprofit situation. This is a real estate situation.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's
every
like,
single one of those women are paying rent to their husbands who are tying back into the leader, right? Giving the money to the leader. Even though my mom's home was her home that they took, she still has to pay rent. Because all of your incomes and outgoings in the name of the Lord, blah, 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 right? Did
So-
your mom pay rent?
yeah, my mom paid rent to Daniel, but Daniel didn't even own the property. We found out later that it was owned by some Kingston that wasn't where the money was going. So what they do is they'll put other people above these businesses or stewardships or whatever, so that if anything legal were to go down, then it would actually go on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fault would go on whoever's technically on paper, when in reality somebody else is running the business.
Exactly. Basically, the reason why Paul is so untouchable is because he makes sure that his pawns, like my dad and all the people at the bottom of the food chain, are on all the paperwork, so that if anyone goes down, it's not Paul or any of his brothers.
So what they say, and so in order, you get assigned places to work, get assigned places to live, get assigned wives and husbands. Anyways, so what they tell you is you are building the kingdom of God upon the earth, and you're like a brick, and you need to go where you fit.
I mean, if you think about it, like, that's the only way to get people to just devote their lives is if you tell them that God wants you to do it.
And not even know how to make their own decisions and choices. because they're being told where to go and what to do.
I guess that doesn't make any sense. If they're a nonprofit, why are they not paying their workers? Why are they collecting rent from these properties?
Nonprofits, it should be expressed that they're volunteering if they're not getting paid.
Right, and I did not know I was volunteering. No one told me that.
Okay, hold on, let me press play.
I'm looking to speak to the owner of the house.
That's me.
Okay. My name's Adam. I'm with Fox 13 with the news. Do you work for Ensign Learning Center?
Oh, I'm not the owner of the house. Sorry.
Fox 13 has learned each of the tenants are members of the Kingston family, and none were very forthcoming about why their house is owned by a school. Why does Ensign Learning Center own the house?
I'm not sure. We don't want to say.
You don't want to say anything? Okay.
I think they know to be careful of what they say to anyone with a camera.
Amanda says her mother used to own one of these homes. You rent from a school, or how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Until she joined the order and signed the house over to Ensign Learning Center.
There's nobody here that is associated with Ensign.
My mom's a member. She's the second of 3 wives. From day one, they teach you that how important consecration is, that everything that you own, all of your incomings and outgoings have to be in the name of the Lord.
According to a complaint filed last month with the IRS, Ensign Learning Center is not disclosing any of these homes on their taxes, and the nonprofit may be giving family members special privileges by letting them stay there.
It would be a concern if they were using it for their own personal benefit.
Experts across the country say nonprofits are supposed to be able to explain how their assets serve the public.
While technically they can own residential property, the question would be why?
Do you think there are enough red flags for the IRS to open a formal investigation here?
I think that there are significant red flags.
Somebody filed a complaint against Ensign because of this house, saying that they're not reporting it on their taxes.
So?
What do you mean?
I don't know anything. I don't care. Anyway, I'm not going to talk.
Ensign Learning Center has ignored multiple requests for comment, and although the people who live at these homes may not know the full story, they continue to stand by their landlord.
I'm sure they would not cheat on their taxes.
At the end of the day, the order it's just a business, and it preys on people like my mom.
Okay.
So I think we should also say Ensign is I don't know if outsiders are going to be confused by this, but Ensign is the private order school, and then Vanguard is the public order school.
Okay.
We're talking about Ensign today, which is the one that me and you went to as kids, and the one that we've worked at as well.
Yeah. So the person who filed the complaint that's not affiliated is a hero. I just want to say thank you so much, because a lot of people that come from situations like we have come from, we're unknowledgeable on how to get justice and help. If you get a fire lit under your ass to help somebody, go for it, because you could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
All of us coming from the order, they purposefully keep the laws from us so we don't know what the laws are. So if you're someone who knows the laws and you know that they're breaking them, have at it. The main point is the fact that people are paying for their kids to go to Ensign, to this nonprofit school. People are working there, a lot of them not knowing that they're working there for free. They're not getting any paychecks. I wasn't the only one. Kollene wasn't the only one.
The reason why they don't necessarily know that they're not getting paid is because all the money is in the order. All your incomings and outgoings, in the name of the Lord.
You don't get a check.
Consecrated.
When I got paid, it wasn't like every 2 weeks I got a check. I would go check my statement, my monthly statements, and see if I even got any money that month.
You have a number. I am 61644D. That's who I am in the order.
Yes, I'm 60351A. How do you remember that?
Because I am a machine.
Right. So when we would go to the order stores or the order companies and we wanted to buy something, we would say put it on 60351A, and they would charge it to the account. So we never had credit cards, debit cards. We never had pay stubs. They do it that way to keep it so that there's nothing illegal, because there's no paper trail. There's no way to trace it.
Yes.
So no matter how much me and Kollene can say, look, we were working as children, or they were paying us dimes, there's no record of it. They're smart that way, sadly. They're still doing that to everyone that's in the order, anyone that they can get away with. My point, too, is why are these houses under Ensign, and people like my mom, you heard my mom in that news clip lying to protect the order, which I don't understand, but I guess I did it too at one point. We all did. But she's paying rent. She's paying rent in her own home to the order. It doesn't make sense, and this is under a nonprofit home. It's all sounding so sketchy. And I'm upset, which is why I wanted to make this video, because my mom is being taken advantage of. My mom and all my siblings, even my siblings, my little brothers, they're paying rent too. Some of the ones that are underage, like I've told this to you guys before in another video, when I was, I think 14, 15, they started charging me rent, which if any order members are watching this, that's 100% illegal. You cannot charge your minor child rent. I didn't know that till I left, till like years after I left. Another thing, sorry, I'm just gonna throw this in there because it's making me upset. Probably a year ago, talking about how he was working at Standard, the order company, and he was bragging about how he can get paid overtime now, which is an extra $1 an hour. For my job, it's time and a half.
Yeah,
overtime.
it's time and a half.
And I told
I'm
them
pretty
that.
sure it's time and a half.
But everyone in the order doesn't know.
Utah has its own state overtime laws and also follows the federal overtime provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act. Essentially, employees in Utah must work at least 40 hours in a single work week before receiving overtime pay, which is counted as at least time and a half of employees' normal hourly wage.
So it is illegal.
At least.
Mhm. If you're happy in the order, clap your hands. Just if you're happy in the order working for overtime, which is an extra $1 an hour, they're taking advantage of you. Sorry. It sucks, but any way that they can take advantage, they will. When I was working at the office, if you were late, they would dock $1 from your pay per minute that you were late. That's illegal too. I have to spit out all of these facts because I know there's a bunch of order people that do watch this. Don't let them take advantage of you. Or at least know that they're taking advantage of you.
Also, I feel like the case being opened on the school is opening it more for the IRS to go in and I don't know, do their thing that they do with the monies.
Right. Well, they
like
already
investigate all the businesses.
Well, they already got Jacob for his tax fraud, and so I think that this is a little bit more. It's hard to find the paper trail of all the tax fraud that they're doing, but they're on the right track. It just sucks because no one's speaking up. Like, just like that, people like my mom, even though they've been mistreated so bad in the order, they're going to protect the order. And that's why Kollene and I are here, and we're mad because all of you guys are our family. We don't want you guys to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
It's like a pyramid. Here's you guys at the bottom of the pond, and Paul and his brothers are at the top. Also, I did want to add that I know people are getting so mad at us ex-order members for talking about the order. And I've heard multiple times they're like, just leave us alone and move on with your life. We're not the only ones talking about it. There are literally order members who gave tips to these news reporters. So that's not just people out here that are upset with you guys. There's people within the group that are upset with you guys.
I do want to talk about. Okay, so I was the lunch lady. My older brother was the head chef while he was there. And so my experience is he would make the food and
I feel like this plant is
just move over there. He would make the food and I helped him. I assisted with him. We cooked together in the school and he somehow managed to feed everybody. However, the school would be like, oh, you have to stay under a certain budget, and they didn't really give much.
The order is always looking any way to save that extra dime.
Yeah, so what would you call those people that go to the grocery stores and take the rotten vegetables?
I didn't know people did that. What do you mean?
Well, so
They collect the rotten vegetables
from
the store?
They collect the rotten vegetables from the store. Don't you remember, they used to do it, they used to have the vegetables at church.
I remember seeing the loads come in and they stink from the van.
Rotten.
Yeah.
Rotten
I didn't know
vegetables, but that's what we kind of were supposed to go on. And then they started charging a box, so it was $5 a box or whatever it was, and it's just a bunch of rotten vegetables.
Which is probably why a lot of us got sick from eating the food. I remember there was days where the whole school would just get sick. They legit were feeding us rotten food. And here's the thing, we didn't have an option to say no. They would guard the garbage cans to make sure we weren't throwing away the food. So we were force-fed this rotten food to save money, right?
Yeah. So my older brother put his foot down and was like, okay, we're going to get fresh fruit. We're going to get fresh vegetables. I'm not doing this anymore. And then the school was insisting that he continued to do, can't spend that much. So we would pick through those boxes because we had to. And so
did you help him pick through the boxes?
Yes.
Okay.
We had to pick through these boxes. Instead of just accepting all of that crap food, then we picked through the boxes and then we was like, okay, we don't want that. And then,
you try to make a meal out of all this rotten produce.
But I mean, when my brother put his foot down to be like, okay, we need to get fresh food and stuff, then they did finally allow him to. I think they raised the budget on each kid or something just so we could get fresh produce instead of rotten produce.
We should ask him what the amount was, and then I want to compare it to like normal schools.
Okay, so how much does it cost to feed a child in school? On average, a single meal costs $2.48 at the elementary school level and $2.74 at the high school level.
We're gonna probably pull him in here and just ask him what the budget was like, and because it was a nonprofit, I'm curious to know how much the order actually spent per child, especially if they're not even paying a lot of the workers.
Gerald,
Do you want to interview? We just wanted to talk about how much money you were allowed to buy the kids' school lunches. Want to sit down?
oh,
So this is Gerald. Do you want to be introduced as Gerald or Val, or do you care?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, this is Gerald. This is Colleen's older brother, and you worked, as Colleen was saying, a lunch lady.
Yeah, I was a lunch lady.
yeah, because remember they made us do like the cow hearts and then the rotten food.
They
Like,
didn't make us do anything. So with me, I mean, I guess women in the order are treated a lot different, but with me, it was more like, we got a lot of donations. We were donated buffalo hearts and cow hearts. Those were buffalo hearts.
oh my god.
So that means I've tried Buffalo Heart because I was
Yeah.
going to school and you were the lunch lady.
Yeah,
Wow.
and usually I put it in the chili. But the thing that was different when I cooked and other people, like, I wouldn't serve it if I wasn't willing to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be other people that would cook and then order food, like go to McDonald's, and then everyone else would get sick, and you'd just be like, oh well, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciated my supervisor. They helped me get the budget up to we got it up to 46 cents a kid. And that's actually, we actually had to go out of our way and buy extra things to hit that, because we still got the donations of the old produce from the stores.
Well, whatever, dude, we had to pay $5 a box.
Towards the end, because they were trying to cover her gas, because she went from Smith's to Smith's to Smith's to Smith's.
Okay, so you were showing up Smith saying that we're a nonprofit school.
Not him.
Not me. We
Oh.
didn't have to do that. That was someone else. They got paid for their time on that, though. So.
Oh, okay. So was every day you just had to work with what you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just kind of an experiment every day, like what we're gonna feed everyone.
Definitely, I learned a lot working with you. I could make some divine meal with nothing.
I still don't use recipes though because of that. Because I'm like, oh, I have a base recipe and then I just throw whatever in.
Wow.
We gotta make a cookbook.
Gerald?
Because the one thing I did like about the order is they tried to stay healthy, and like we weren't even allowed to use ranch because it had sugar in it.
Well, we made our own.
You made your
We had to
yeah,
make
I
our
remember
own.
that. Yeah. It was actually pretty good. I liked the bread and
it was
ranch.
probably
my
the best
favorite.
ranch I've ever had.
We did a lot of things from scratch. When we got enough tomatoes, we made tomato sauce from scratch.
So did you get paid? Do you remember how much?
Oh yeah, I always got paid. I was always treated good. Like I said, I think the women are treated different. How old were you?
I was 15, and what they told me was, I
Oh,
asked
yeah.
about like why didn't I get paid? Then they were like, oh, because
So I was 20.
You were 20 and
Yeah.
you were 15 when you were working in the school
Yeah.
lunch place?
I'm like, why didn't I get paid my full amount? And then they said, oh, well, it's because you're not 16 yet. So when you turn 16, then you're going to get a whole bunch of money. And then
Because they had to pay only a certain amount because you were
because I was
underage.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, because it was during
But then
school
Daniel
season.
actually worked it out so that he got all the money.
Yeah,
No
so I never got that money. I actually
I feel like the school paid it. It just went to someone.
what they
else.
said was, oh, that was for your online high school, and I did the online high school because they lied to me about saying that the public school was like $2,000. So, and you can't really pay for that, and your mom's not willing to, so you better do the online school. And so
Even though
then,
public schools are free.
yeah, and Daniel said if I stayed in the order and went to Penn Foster, he would pay for it. What ended up happening is,
He paid for it with her money.
yeah,
We did pay for it. So Gerald, you actually have a really good story. I think if you guys are interested and if you're willing, I would love to interview you about your process of leaving. Because how old were you when you left?
23. I was a lot older,
Okay.
so
And
I
this
pretty
is-
much grew up there.
But this was a few years after you were working at the order school.
Yeah.
When
I left, I was still working at the order school.
Really?
It was like a simultaneous, like, I had a pretty good relationship with my boss. Like, that's how we got the budget to where it was, and I had anything I needed. But it was like a mutual, like, as soon as summer hits, I'm leaving the order, which means I can't work here anymore.
Oh yeah.
So it
You
was
have
like
to
we
leave.
knew, and I just toughed it out for 6 weeks. Shoot. we were just good friends.
Wow.
That was the only reason I waited that long. I would have left that day, but I liked that job and those kids. So
I
Yeah.
honestly, like, even though I didn't get paid, I don't regret working for the school because I really liked having that influence with the kids, and the kids influenced me too. As well,
that was a lot of the time. That's their only meal. So like,
it's true.
I don't know. It was like gave you purpose to get up in the morning to be like,
Well,
if I don't feed these kids, no one's gonna feed these kids.
It's true. Like, I was a preschool teacher for a little while, and this little girl would always go missing. It was this kid, remember her? She had like 15 kids. But this little girl was always missing in the mornings, and I always knew she was at the lunchroom trying to find food because her parents would never feed her. So it's true. Like, a lot of the times, this food was the only meal that they get, and sometimes the meal, not your meal, but when someone else was cooking, would make them sick.
yeah.
We always had kids going to the bathroom. They were just getting bread, and sometimes I said no, but most of the times I said yes.
Because a lot of them aren't getting fed, and a lot of them are. Think about it. Like, this girl that was running off, every morning getting food in the mornings. She also would be in the same clothes as she was wearing yesterday. Her hair was like messy, like she just wasn't taken care of.
Well, they
So,
have all these kids that can't even take care of them.
but I do think that people are starting to realize, which is why there were insiders talking to reporters about this last news case. So I think people are starting to get fed up. The news reporter asked me if they teach about order teachings in there, and yes,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
definitely do. They do meditation.
It's
I mean,
basically
you got-
church, but it was schooling.
They got the numbered men on the friggin' wall in the lunchroom.
And they're getting taxpayers' dollars for that. This cult is getting outsiders' money because they're nonprofit and because they're getting tax-free, right?
Is that how it works? I don't know.
I thought they were just milking the beast.
I know that they're just not. They don't have to pay taxes. It's nonprofit.
Oh, maybe I'm getting mixed with
Everything's
Matt and Martha.
donated.
Okay. So they're just getting everything for free while they're teaching their culty stuff to these kids.
Yeah, I don't really know how it works, but I'd have to do like my own research.
But I think at the end of the day, I don't see them going public with Ensign, so I almost feel like it would be better to shut down Ensign.
Well, I sent an email to the news.
I was 15 years old. I was working as a lunch lady with my older brother because they did not want me to go to school, and they said I needed to work somewhere to make money to get married. I witnessed abuse in the school as well as wage theft and watched my brother having to penny pinch and scrape the bottom of the barrel to make sure we stayed below our budget to feed over 500 people every day. They didn't give much. Everyone at the school said when me and my brother were the cooks, nobody got sick. But when we left, it was back to rotten food and expired milk, and many kids were sick. We also had a special needs woman that worked with us in the kitchen, and she was assigned to one of my half brothers as a wife, but they had locked her up and wouldn't let her go outside unless it was to work or church. She is in need of some extreme mental help. It's really sad. I was also a third grade science teacher at one point, as well as the TA. I witnessed the teacher in class forcing children to take comfrey powder because it was part of the belief in the order to take it every day. A normal day in the order school would consist of being dropped off and waiting outside in line before the bell rings. While you're outside, all the teachers are telling you to tell everyone and say that I love my dad and am grateful for my membership in the order. And they basically say the memory gems outside. When they bring everybody inside, then they have class prayer, and then they have memory gems again, and then they would talk again why they love their father or that their dad is the best thing ever. Go about maybe a Bible study or order history or however the curriculum goes, and at noon everybody in the entire church bows their head and closes their eyes for 5 minutes to have a combined meditation ceremony for an issue that the order has, like if we needed Uncle David to get out of jail or to get the mind back, etc. Hope something helps.
And if you open your eyes during meditation, you get to pull your card.
Oh yeah, they have cards.
It'd be like, oh, she opened her eyes, and they're like, wait a minute, How did you know that I was opening my eyes?
When I was the lunch lady, meditation was my favorite time of day. Because you know how loud cafeterias get, and then all of a sudden it's just noon and
Quiet.
everyone shuts up, and it's like, oh, thank God.
It was quiet. I remember it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop, because if you were loud, you would go get your card pulled, and a lot of times that meant you were gonna get a beating when you go home. Like, I was so terrified of getting my card pulled. I want to talk about what you guys think the best options are, because I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm speaking out against these schools, but what is the benefit? Like, what are we wanting for these kids? Like, I want them all to go to public school, all of them, but that's not going to happen. If they get shut down, I think that maybe some of them will go to public schools, but I think that, I don't know.
Well, they'll probably end up doing homeschool, plus the coronavirus.
Right. So I guess, what's the best case
I
scenario?
know, but you can't all do homeschool because your parents are all going to work, and so they can pay your rent and feed you and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really loaded question, but I mean, I have an opinion on it. But
Well, all that money should actually be being used to help those children. I think they should get real teachers. I think they should make it like
Legit school, not just like kids like me that were trying to be teachers.
I think that it's all messed up. I don't even know. I do think most of those kids should go to public
should they be shut down? I think there's good and bad for that.
Yeah.
Like, if they get shut down, I think the good is that people are forced to see, like, well, they're going to have to find a different option.
Mhm.
The bad thing about it is that the different option might be just a bunch of drones doing whatever they're told.
Yeah.
And it might not be a whole lot different, but I would hope whatever, even in that scenario, I still hope that it's just something that's so not functioning that people just wake up. I don't think the government should let them get away with it. If they're doing something wrong, they need to do something. They need to do it right.
Exactly. And they're doing a lot of things wrong.
But
with
it's
that.
sad who's going to actually pay the repercussions of these decisions.
Right.
Because it's not going to be the people responsible for making these illegal decisions.
Exactly. But I wish that the news reporter would have left that in the Fox 13 segment, but I was telling him how, he's like, who do you think is going to go down? Do you think they're going to go down for this? And I was like, it's going to be innocent people that are going down for the ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
Because they're smart in putting other people on their dirty business.
Well, and everyone just does what they say.
Exactly.
You gotta follow the one above.
Exactly. So I think I'm going to make this into 2 parts.
Don't be a drone.
Yeah, don't be a drone. Question everything. I'm gonna make this into 2 parts. I'm gonna put the school part in 1, and then I think I'm gonna put all of our story stuff into 2, because I think it's interesting.
If it's glitchy everywhere, just be like, pardon the glitch is bad.
No, I'll edit it so that it makes sense.
Suddenly Gerald's here, suddenly he's not.
But, yeah, let me know too if you guys want to hear Gerald's story, because I feel like you got a good story. Everyone does, but anyways, that's our take on all of it. If you guys have any more questions you want us to answer, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
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 Remember, they saved his body because they thought he was going to come back.
I did not.
I mean, I don't remember that. I remember that story.
I remember that story too. It's funny.
They thought he was
And
going to be resurrected.
They thought he was the second coming of Christ, and it was going to be all the same, and they left him in a bathtub or a closet or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Why did I not hear that story?
I don't think anyone wants to know that it didn't work.
Wait, does everyone get baptized in that pool? Because I got baptized in dirty water.
But the second time someone tried to steal, they kept going back for the gold, which they could have got away with it if they weren't being greedy, but they went back over and over, got caught.
There was
got
that
arrested.
much gold.
There was so much, you guys.